All right, good afternoon, everyone. We're going to get started almost on time for our policy session of the Phoenix City Council for November 18th, 2014. We do have a quorum present of the City Council. So we will start our policy session to see if any of our colleagues on the council have any information or follow-up requests. I will start to my right. Councilwoman Williams.
Mayor, I'll make this short. I just want to remind everyone that this Friday is the District 1 breakfast at Deer Valley Airport at 7:30 a.m. Everyone's invited.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman.
I'm good.
Vice Mayor is going to take a pass for now.
Yes, for now.
I predict he'll think of something. Councilman Gates.
Thank you, Mayor. We've got a lot going up on in District 3 these days. This Saturday, we'll be having a tree planting at Moon Valley Park at 8:30 in the morning. This is actually part of the Super Bowl festivities. So yeah, Super Bowl making it up to District 3. We're very appreciative of that. Moon Valley Park is a wonderful gem in District 3, and so hopefully folks can join us for that. As well, always, this time of the year, we will be enjoying the wonderful holiday decorations in Moon Valley soon. And that's, for those of you who haven't been up there before, it's fantastic. People go all out. They actually have a competition, and they give awards to some of the best lights and decorations. And so that will be going on, of course, throughout the holidays. And then again, staying in the holiday theme, we will be holding the District 3 holiday party on December 8th, and it will be at one of the mayor's favorite spots in Phoenix, Let It Roll Bowl in Sunny Slope. I know he loves to go up there. He actually came up and beat me pretty resoundingly in bowling. Very embarrassed to say that, but you know, he does have his name on his bowling shirt. So you know, that's hard to compete with, but we'd love to have everyone come out. It's going to be a great event, asking people to either bring a toy, which we will donate to Betsy's Kids, which is very involved in Sunny Slope, or you can bring a canned good for the Desert Mission Food Bank. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilman Gates. First off, I'm going to come back for your party. I'm coming back to Let It Roll Bowl again. It is a great party. Thank you for doing that and for serving the community. I would like at least one other council member to attend the party so I could have some competition in bowling.
We'll maybe after that we can meet up at Cave Creek Golf Course for a little competition too. Fair enough, Mayor.
All right, Councilwoman Gallego.
Would like to thank Cassandra Mason-Montz for serving as my Chief of Staff and for her multiple decades of service. She will be retiring before Thanksgiving, and we have a great sign announcing her secret retirement party in the office that she won't let us display, so encourage everyone to come by and see it. But thank you to Cassandra for her decades of service to the city and to me, and congratulations to Joaquin Rios, who will be taking that position. We also wanted, Councilman Nowakowski wanted to invite folks to a meeting about Cesar Chavez Park tomorrow in the Cesar Chavez High School cafeteria at 6:30. We also wanted to thank the mayor for joining us. We have set up a fund at the Arizona Community Foundation to help flood victims who are in need of individual assistance, and that will supplement the great aid we are getting as a result of the presidential disaster declaration. So good news moving forward in that area, but still a lot of need, folks who aren't back in their homes, and we'll continue to try to make as much progress as we can in that area because it's been a tough fight for many individuals. This week is National Hunger and Homeless Awareness Week, so folks who would like to participate in the social media campaign to raise awareness, we have a sign, and the Coalition to End Homelessness has invited all council members to use this sign on their social media this week, so we would welcome anyone who wanted to participate to enjoy the chance to, a little bit of a creative campaign related to educating folks about homelessness and using a familiar sign in a new way. So thank you to the coalition for thinking creatively. They were also major partners on another piece of great news in District 8, Victory Place, which provides housing to our veterans, did a major groundbreaking this week. The mayor instructed a tractor to bulldoze a house. It was very, very dramatic, but he's a future in construction if he so chooses. He did not operate the bulldozer himself. I'm told other mayors have done that, but for our legal department who is here, we are very much within our liability limits.
It was less of a legal issue, more of a risk management issue, frankly, yeah.
And the thing I get the most reaction to from these announcements was my restaurant news of District 8's excellent placing in the Arizona Republic's Mexican restaurants. So District 8, best new restaurant in both Phoenix Magazine and the Arizona Republic's rankings. 2 different restaurants were recognized. So I'm encouraging everyone to eat in District 8 because we have some great opportunities. And I think, and we also had the opportunity to help welcome Zenefits, which is a cloud human relations company, to the Maricopa area, which will be hundreds of new jobs and very exciting economic development news. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman. Councilman Nowakowski.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, I first want to start off by thanking Stephanie and Antoine from my office. They've been interns from ASU, and this is their last week, and they've been doing such a wonderful job. And thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Antoine, for everything you've done for District 7 and the city of Phoenix. Also, we're accepting applications now for the Lucky 7 in District 7. If you want to apply for one of the best restaurants, place, first date, activity, family spot, you can just look up our website, district7.gov, and just we have a list of different Lucky 7s that you can apply for. We also want to thank all those individuals that went out in the Estrella Mountain areas and the Salina community that came out. There was over 100 people that came out to the movies in the park. It turned out to be a great success. Neighbors got to meet neighbors for the first time. And what a great event. We're going to have to do something out there in the Estrella Mountain village again. Also, I want everyone to mark their calendars for Friday, December 5th. We're going to have a double feature right here in Civic Space, right off of Van Buren and Central Avenue. The movies are going to be Polar Express and the National Lampoon Christmas Vacation. So come on out and bring your kids and make sure you dress nice and warm to watch this double feature outside. Also, I want to thank all the people that came out to that attended Planned Phoenix. What a great turnout. We had over 300 people talking about the future of Phoenix, and thank you for your concern. Thank you for coming out and letting us know what you want the future of Phoenix to look like. Also on Thursday, on Thanksgiving coming up, right there on at McDonald's on Southern and Central, we'll be feeding about 5,000 families. Julian's been doing this for 13 years. And come on out to South Phoenix, where we're feeding 5,000 families at the McDonald's on Southern and Central. Also, a tradition that we created about 5 years ago is putting the lights back on Central. I remember when I was a child, we used to drive down Central Avenue and look at all the holiday lights down Central Avenue, and we brought that tradition back 5 years ago. I just really want to thank all the corporate sponsors, all the community sponsors, and the individuals that support this tradition that we have. Also, Cityscape had created a tradition about 3 years ago by putting a ice skating ring on Central Avenue during the holiday season. So if you have a chance, come on out after Thanksgiving all the way until the New Year's, and we have an ice skating ring right in downtown Phoenix. So bring your kids, bring your families, bring your boyfriend, and enjoy yourself, or girlfriend, and enjoy yourself. Thank you so much, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilman Nowakowski. National Lampoons, you're going with, you're a little edgy there. I like that. All right, good. All right, it'll be fun. All right, who's on the phone? We have a couple council members, I think, on via phone.
Hi, Mayor. It's Daniel Valenzuela.
Councilman Valenzuela, did you have any announcements you'd like to make?
I do have a couple. I'd like to invite everyone out to the Royal Palm concert. It's a concert in the park, and this is in collaboration between District 5 and District 3. So Councilman Gates and I would love to see you all out there. We will have some live local musicians. We'll have a great time. Want to thank the the team members, the staff members from both offices, and of course the neighborhood leaders around Royal Palm for working together. We've been talking about this for a little while now, and we're excited to put this concert in the park on. I'd like to also thank those who came out for the Planned Phoenix Summit last Saturday. It was a wonderful turnout. We had a lot of residents participate. I want to thank all the city staff members. It was a great event. Mayor, I know you made it out. I know several others, our Vice Mayor, Councilman Nowakowski, and I'm sure others have made it out for this event. But I especially want to thank the city staff who came out, those who don't usually work on a Saturday. After working a long work day, they came out and really put on a great event. So thank you for doing that. The Estrella Supermoms. This is a new block watch, and these are a lot of, well, they are super moms. That's exactly what they are, and who they are. They had an amazing gain event. Vita Paz, another neighborhood organization that had a gain event. The super moms helped celebrate part of their gain event by doing a graffiti, anti-graffiti event, a paint out event. So I want to thank everyone for participating there as well. And last but not least, I want to just ask everyone, if you're close to a computer, which I think most of us have one in our pocket with our iPhones, go to AZ Central and take a look at the launch of Co-Exchanges. I want to congratulate Cahoots, Jenny Poon, and Kristen Romaine. They were able to launch Co-Exchanges. I was honored to, and I am honored to work with them. As you all know, I'm talking to those who are watching, the city has a focus. There is a laser focus on making Phoenix the place for entrepreneurs. We work with our co-working spaces, incubators, accelerators. We want our entrepreneurs to thrive here in Phoenix. We want others to come here to Phoenix. And I had an opportunity to work with Jenny Poon and Kristen Romaine and Cahoots in creating what is known now as Co-Exchanges. It works sort of like a foreign exchange program for entrepreneurs. Soon we will bring some entrepreneurs from Italy. I was able to bring these entrepreneurs with me on the Sister Cities trip to Italy, and you can read about it on AZ Central. And I just want to congratulate the bright minds and the hard workers of Cahoots, and you can check that out on AZ Central. Or look for a segment. The segment is out on Channel 11. It's a DTV segment to talk all about it, or to share all about it. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilman Valenzuela. I think Councilman Nowakowski had a quick question for you.
Danny, I know you know there's a tradition out there in District 5 for these concerts. The council member always sings and performs. Are you ready for that?
I did invite Claude Maddox to come out. There's a couple of things that Claude was able to do that I can't pull off. I also hear about a swimming thing that he did, and so. But Councilman Nowakowski, you're certainly welcome to come out, and I'll tell you what. If you do it, I'll try to talk the mayor into doing it.
All right. Thank you very much, Councilman Valenzuela. Councilman Maddox was a very good singer, and Danny is a good lip syncer, thank goodness. All right. So who else is on the line? Councilwoman Pastor, Councilwoman?
Yes. Good afternoon. Would like to thank Dwight Amory and District 4 for honoring and serving the Police Appreciation this Saturday. Would also like to celebrate that the annual Awards of Excellence also happened. And of course, Plan Phoenix. I'm joking, hang on. Okay.
Thank goodness.
And I'm collecting turkeys for Pastor Fleming. So anybody in District 4 that would like to donate turkeys, please let our office know. It is for the needy and on Thanksgiving Day. And then I would also like to thank Megan Schmidt, who has been my chief of staff for the last year. She is moving on, and she's going to go serve APS. And I would like to welcome my new chief of staff, Josh Zaragoza. So there's a lot going on in District 4, and I also want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and to be blessed, and pray for those that are in need. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman. Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Okay, thank goodness. Is anybody else, do we have Councilman DeCiccio online? We don't think so? If he joins, he'll have the opportunity to say something. I just wanted to add one thing, and that is, Ed, to you and your team, thank you. Plan Phoenix did go very, very well. And originally I was skeptical about whether City Hall was the right place to have our Plan Phoenix meeting. I thought it turned out great. There was a good crowd, a lot of energy. The breakout sessions were very, very substantive. So there was a lot of discussion about what is in the proposed general plan, which has to go to the voters in 2015 by state law. But we didn't want to go through kind of a pro forma process. We wanted to actually make it a true interactive process where people feel invested in the future of their city. I think we've got the draft plan, which is online at the phoenix.gov right now. Check it out if you're someone watching this at home and you want to see at least what we're thinking about what to put in our general plan. And we got a lot of great ideas about how to make it even better. So thanks for you and your team for helping with Plan Phoenix. Someone did mention tax credits earlier, and I just wanted to let everyone know that if you are interested in the education tax credit program and you want to support Phoenix schools, go to a new website, kidsaremissingout.com, kidsaremissingout.com, and that website will direct you to a location where you can make tax donations for after-school or out-of-school time programs, particularly for those schools in Phoenix that happen to have a higher poverty population that they are serving. And normally, they don't have as much resources for their after-school program, whether it be math programs, science programs, chess clubs, athletic programs, music programs. If you're in education, you know that out-of-school time, the enrichment programs that can happen in out-of-school time are just as important as what goes on in the school day. And with the education tax credit program, I think it's a well-meaning program for our friends of the legislature, but schools that are in higher wealth areas are able to provide more resources to those schools for the after-school program. We want to make sure that every single child in the city of Phoenix has an equal access to a fully enriching after-school or out-of-school time program. So I'm asking everyone in our city, if you have a child in school, give the education tax credit to your child's school. If you don't have a child in school, you have a huge stake at what goes on in our schools. And one easy thing to do is to make a donation to one of our higher poverty schools. They could really use it. The kids, their lives will change as a result of that support. And you get a dollar for dollar tax credit on your state tax form. So it's a good deal for the people of the city, and we want to make sure we're doing all we can to support our City of Phoenix schools. So again, kidsaremissingout.com. I want to thank Don Covey and McKeesa, which is Maricopa County Educational Services Administration. Before we started this program, many of the inner city schools in Phoenix did not offer tax credit donations online. You had to do it the old-fashioned way, write a check and put it in an envelope. And so they didn't. That was a barrier to getting as many of the tax credit donations as we wanted. Now every single school in the city of Phoenix is online and available for an electronic donation by people in this community. So if you're a business leader and you want to do something for your employees to make them feel, adopt a Phoenix school and ask them to donate through the education tax credit to support our Phoenix schools. And I just was passed a note for something that we all didn't talk about. We've been talking about it for a long time, but it happened this week. We want to make sure, so I hand over to Councilman Nowakowski. It's in your district.
You know, we had the groundbreaking of the new law school in downtown Phoenix. What a great opportunity. They're moving the law school from Tempe to downtown Phoenix, just blocks away from our municipal court building, from all of our federal court buildings in our county court building also, and all these great law firms. So we'll have great interns coming in from the Arizona State University. So we really want to thank President Crow. I want to thank my colleagues for being out there and for all their support of bringing ASU downtown, and especially the leadership of our mayor when he was a council member, making sure that ASU was secured for downtown Phoenix. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. And yes, there has been under construction for a few months, so we delayed the official groundbreaking till the weather was a little bit cooler. But that was at the request of one of the benefactors of the school. And if you write a $10 million check to support the school, we'll delay the grand opening, or the kickoff, excuse me. We'll delay the groundbreaking for a few months. So that's a lesson for all you people interested in writing $10 million checks to one of our wonderful organizations that could use it. All right, any other comments or statements? Vice Mayor, did you change your mind? No. He is staying silent for at least today. He'll make it up next week. All right, so next on the agenda, we have no consent agenda. Do we have a call for an executive session? We do. Please.
Mayor, in accordance with a properly posted notice and agenda, I move that the City Council, pursuant to Arizona Revised Statutes, Section 38-43, 1.02.a, meet in executive session on Tuesday, December 9th, 2014 at 1 p.m. in the East Conference Room, 12th floor of the Phoenix City Hall, 200 West Washington Street, Phoenix, Arizona, and on Friday, December 12th, 2014 at 9 a.m. in the second floor subcommittee room, Phoenix Historic City Hall, 17 South 2nd Avenue, Phoenix, Arizona.
We have a motion. We have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Vice Mayor, you're okay.
I'm okay.
That is the
I got
second
same I got.
near choking incident we've had. We're going to get through this meeting fully healthy.
A lot of allergies out there in the naked city.
All right. Next, we'd like to recognize some of our outstanding city employees who have met some important milestones in their career for time and service to the citizens of Phoenix. Let's see, I'll start with Councilman Williams. Do you have a employee service recognition announcement?
I do. I'm very honored to introduce Sharon Haynes. Sharon Haynes began her career with the city as an assistant city prosecutor on October 29, 1984. After 1 year, which she was the lead counsel in 33 misdemeanor jury trials, Sharon transferred to the Motions and Appeals Division. In December 1986, Sharon transferred to the Civil Division of the Law Department, where she initially served as the police legal advisor for approximately 18 months. In June of 1988, Sharon was given the responsibility for acquiring property through the power of eminent domain and went on to first chair over 10 jury trials in the course of 4 years. In 1992, Sharon began defending the city in liability cases, and in the ensuing 18 years, she took 15 cases to jury verdict in Superior Court. Sharon was the attorney for the Parks and Recreation Department from 2003 to 2010. In 2010, Sharon was promoted to Assistant Chief Counsel for the Litigation Section, where she has responsibility for managing approximately 200 liability cases and overseeing in-house and outside counsel. In addition, Sharon has served 3 terms on the board of Arizona Association of Defense Counsel. Congratulations to Sharon Haynes for 30 years of excellent service to the city of Phoenix.
Us bad legal advice, and we cannot say that about all the lawyers that have represented us over those years. Thank you for keeping us out of trouble. You're welcome. Bill.
Our next honoree today is Cindy Stotler. Cindy, a high school graduate of District 3, by the way, Shadow Mountain. Cindy Stotler began her career with the City of Phoenix in 1989 as a tax audit intern in the finance department. She's received several promotions throughout her career, and in March of 2010, she became the assistant director of the Planning and Development Department, the position she holds today. During her career with the Planning and Development Department, Cindy created the Building Phoenix show, rewrote the development fee schedule, and maintained services and cost recovery during the economic downturn. More recently, Cindy was charged with streamlining development by creating or expanding programs offering alternatives to the standard development process. Most notable among the new programs is the self-certification program that allows licensed professionals to attend city training and be certified to bypass city plan review by performing their own code compliance review. This program, now in its 4th year, has 247 professionals who have self-certified more than 800 projects valued at over $600 million. It has become a model program for other jurisdictions, both in the Valley and out of state. Cindy has also been featured in the Latino Perspectives magazine for her mentoring program called Maximizing Potential in Women. She was a member of the $1 Million Club, assessing over $1 million in sales tax audits, and she was awarded the City Manager's Excellence Award for rewriting the city's general purchasing administrative regulation. She served on many citywide committees and task forces to implement new programs, resolve issues, and streamline services. Cindy's a Phoenix native, a certified public manager, and has both her bachelor's and master's degrees from NAU. Congratulations to Cindy Stotler for 25 years of excellent service to the city of Phoenix.
All right, next on our agenda is to ask our city manager, do you have any updates relative to our budget?
Mayor, thank you, yes, and thank you, Mayor and council members, for recognizing the Plan Phoenix group. Alan Stevenson, Cindy Stotler, who we just saw, Sandy Hoffman, and Josh Bednarik all deserve a great deal of credit, along with all the city staff who contributed on Saturday. I agree with you. I've never seen as engaged a group of people dealing with a public issue, so I think it really set the bar for public involvement in the future.
And I would add, the document itself, the draft document, which is a really cool-looking document, was virtually all done in-house.
Yeah.
I mean, that normally would cost us a lot of money in outside consulting help or PR communications help. Almost all of it was done in-house. It looks great.
Now for budget. Really quickly, we said we would update you monthly. So where we stand through 3 months of total general fund revenue is at a 2.5% growth rate for the year, and our target for the full year is 2.7%. So we are tracking fairly closely to the overall number. Through 4 months of sales tax collections, we are also seeing close tracking. Overall sales tax, all city sales tax excluding food tax, grew 2.2% in October over the year prior. That puts us at a 2.7% 4-month growth rate. In terms of retail, the most encouraging month of retail sales tax collection in the past 6 months was in October, 5.5% increase over the year previously. Contracting continues to be a bit of a mystery, although for the year we are at 1.2% growth for 4 months. Our year projection is 0%, so level for last year, so we're a little bit ahead, but you can see that's based on 1 positive month in the last 6. So something is happening in the contracting industry, and we're trying to continue to monitor that closely on the revenue side. On the expenditure side, the Budget and Research Department continues to start the first part of our process, which is to go line item by line item by line item with every department to identify where there are potential savings and reductions, where things are moving, so that we can come in January with a clean start to the budget. And so departments are working closely with Budget and Research to develop those estimates for next year. And then next month on December the 9th, we'll be back to you with some early cost reductions, primarily having done a thorough review of our vacancies, and we will be back to you for early council budget action in December. Finally, just a little bit of good news. Moody's, which rates our bonds, one of our bond rating agencies, and we are a AA1 with Moody's, just recently issued a report talking about successful cities. And they define successful cities are those among the top 50 in population where they have done better through the recession than others. And Phoenix was one that they included in that list and also called out. And just show a quote that Moody's said about this, and this is really a testament to the leadership of the mayor and the council, that they recognize we have been a time-tested leader in maintaining fiscal balance because we have aggressive and timely budget cuts and politically difficult revenue adjustments when needed, most recently in response to the revenue losses of the Great Recession. So that has been recognized this past week by Moody's as important work done by the city of Phoenix through the downturn. And Mayor, with that, I will return back to our regular agenda.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions for our city manager? All right, let's move on our agenda. The next item is item number 3, and we're going to have a deep dive into biking and bicycling in the city of Phoenix, and I couldn't be more excited that we're taking the time to do this. So I think our Deputy City Manager, Rick Neymark, is going to lead the way.
Yes, Mayor.
We've actually brought some show and tell stuff as well here today.
Indeed. Mayor, members of the council, we're delighted today to be talking about 2 major elements of progress forward with cycling in Phoenix, which helps make our community more multimodal and more accessible for everybody. The first major element is the comprehensive bicycle master plan. And the second, we're going to talk a little bit about the rollout of the grid bikes, which is very exciting. Before we do grid bikes, I'll ask, well, first of all, let me just introduce the bicycle master plan, and then I'll have Kenny Knudsen, our Assistant Street Transportation Director, introduce the staff and what they're going to talk about. On the bicycle master plan, this went to subcommittee a week or so ago. We had a dedicated group of people working on it, and we want to thank them for their work. Unfortunately, Feliciano Vera, our chair of our task force, was unable to be here today, but he has been a very forceful advocate for this. And let me just say, this gives us an opportunity to really guide our efforts going forward from a big picture level, and gives us an opportunity to think about how do we move from where we are today to a more bicycle-friendly community. And so with that, I'll ask Kenny to introduce the staff who are going to present today on these 2 topics, and we'll go from there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rick. Mayor and members of the council, we're happy to be here today. On my left and my right, I'm going to introduce the 2 staff members who are going to important members of our team who are going to take us through this presentation today. On my left, we have Carrie Wilcoxon, traffic engineer with our Traffic Services Division, who's going to be taking us through the Bicycle Master Plan. And on my right, Charlene Reynolds, our newly appointed Deputy Street Transportation Director, who will be over our Management Services Group, who's going to be taking us through and talking about the Grid Share Bike Program. So I'll let Carrie go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Kenny. Thanks, Rick. And thank you, Mayor and Council, for your support of bicycling and for asking us to talk about this today. We're here to talk about the Bicycle Master Plan, but before we do, I wanted to inform everyone of a wonderful announcement we heard earlier this week. The City of Phoenix applied for bicycle-friendly status to the League of American Bicyclists earlier this fall, and we were notified earlier this week that we achieved bronze status. So we are now a bicycle-friendly community, bronze level. It's a static title. Has to be renewed every 4 years, but it's a great testament to all the hard work that's been done by staff, by residents, by elected officials to make the city more bicycle friendly. It's a great time to be bicycling in Phoenix. But getting back to the master plan, the Phoenix Master Plan, Bicycle Master Plan, was developed as a response to the community asking for more time and effort to be spent on improving the bicycle infrastructure and the bicycle philosophy within the city of Phoenix. The plan itself builds on the 1988 bond program, which established the the bike program with a $3 million initial fund to develop things like bicycle trails, bicycle routes, tunnels, things like that. The Bicycle Master Plan builds on that and also is compatible with a couple of the other initiatives that the city's been working on in the last several years, including the Complete Streets Initiative, passed this July, the Pedestrian Safety Action Plan, which is being worked on, and the Downtown Phoenix Transportation Plan. The plan itself is considered important for a number of reasons. Of course, it will help increase fitness of residents alike, and it's going to be an important part of the Fit Phoenix plan. But it also is the best way to enhance and provide for alternative transportation on city streets. And primarily, we're looking at alternative to motorized transportation. It improves connectivity of the bike system and to some respects, the pedestrian system. And it improves the ability for the city to compete for and get funding, both nationally and locally, through MAG and other agencies. The master plan was developed through a combination of work with the technical advisory committees, and they included both internal department representatives and also outside agencies such as MAG, ADOT, other agencies from around the state, as well as the Citizen Pedestrian Advisory Task Group, which was formed about 6 or 8 months ago. And one of the tasks that this group was given was to develop, among other things, this bicycle master plan. The group did quite a bit of outreach, including public meetings, and gave much of their time, and they did a wonderful job, not only on this program but also on some of the other issues that they had to deal with. During the public outreach portion of the committee, we heard time and again that there are really 4 issues that the citizens wanted addressed and wanted the bike plan to address. Connectivity was the main part, making sure that the bike lanes that are there connect to something that they want to bike to. Maintenance of existing bike facilities to make sure that we keep up the facilities and make sure that they are still bikeable. Enforcement of some of the existing bike laws. And then finally, balance. We heard time and again that the biking community wanted balance between the motorized and non-motorized aspects that go into the designing and building of our streets. There are a number of projects on the list on the Bicycle Master Plan list of priorities. These are a few of them. One of the things that they all share in common, or some of the things that all these programs share in common, is they all rely on narrowing of the roadways, reducing some of the capacity, the excess capacity we have for automobiles through road diets, helping with street crossings to help get people across the streets, and to tie the bike facilities into the neighborhood street grid. In all, there are about $52.7 million in projects, which was quite a large chunk to bite off. And we actually had quite a bit of discussion both during the public outreach and the ad hoc committee discussions or meetings where we talked about how can we fund these desires. And first of all, there are a lot of ongoing projects now. Smaller scale projects are being done as we speak, whenever we have overlays or whenever we have the opportunities. But we're also well aware of the fact that our current CIP has limited funding. We don't have the ability to build all $52 million worth of projects. So we're going to be looking at new funding sources, not least of which may be the Transit 2000 funds, bond, and federal and state funding as it becomes available. So with that, staff has recommended, and the Transportation and Infrastructure Subcommittee has recommended, that the full City Council adopt the Bicycle Master Plan. And with that, I will be more than happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Wilcoxon? Well, go ahead, Councilman Gates, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm very pleased to see all the work that has been put into this, very appreciative of our committee and all the work that our residents have done on this. I think this is fantastic. I have some comments, I have some questions here, if I might. The first thing is there's a few appendices that are referenced in this, just so everybody knows at home. This is 100 and, see here, again, a lot of work was put into this, 100 and, I don't even know how many. 113-page plan. There's some appendices that are referenced in here, and I don't think I saw those. And you know, I just want to make sure when we're being asked to approve this plan, when there are different appendices that are being referred to, you know, that would be helpful to have those in front of us as we go through this. My general comment is this. While I appreciate all the projects that have been listed here, and you talked about that a little bit, there's very specific listing of, again, there's 39 bicycle projects, and they're literally put in order from 1 to 39. And this is over a 20-year period. And while I greatly appreciate the work that's been done by the committee, I don't think that this council's hand should be tied that, well, you know, that's number one, even though, you know, for a variety of reasons, there may be funding that comes available for number 36 on this project. The council believes that that one should move up in order. So I have no problem with the 39 items that have been listed here, but I think that it would make sense to pull them out of this strict order that they're in right now. It's just one general comment that I would make. Another general comment that I would make about this plan is that it says in several places in here that the streets will be retrofitted for bicycles. Again, I'm supportive of making our streets more bicycle friendly, but I think to make that strong of a statement, I mean, who knows what the cost that would be of that to retrofit all of our streets across the over 500 square miles of the city. So I think if we can, you know, say this is aspirational, when appropriate, we will do what we can to retrofit. But I just want to make sure that we're not making a commitment to something that we simply can't afford and maybe may not even be appropriate. I know Councilwoman Williams has spoken very eloquently about this, and you know, in her district, for example, again, we've got quite a bit of variety in our city. Some, you know, there's not a one-size-fits-all on this particular issue. Love the discussion, the analysis of the road diets that are in here. For people who aren't familiar with the road diet, and I think I have sort of a classic example of this in District 3, which is we have North 32nd Street, which used to have a very large amount of traffic on it. Then the 51 came in, and there simply is, and never will be, the traffic that we had there in the future. So as a result, we have too much asphalt. We don't have the vehicles to support it. So a road diet where bike lanes would be added makes a lot of sense. I'd like to see the council take a look at coming up with policies as to when road diets make sense, when they don't. I know there's been a discussion of a road diet along Central and North Central Phoenix. It's been a little controversial. I think if this council were to, you know, look at that issue and give guidance to staff as to when the road diets might make sense and might not, that's something that I also think would be great. But this plan goes a long ways down that road. Again, wonderful. I encourage folks at home to read through this bicycle plan and all the different ways that different cities have set up bicycle lanes to make them more convenient, to make them safer. And this is invaluable as we move forward over the years, and hopefully we have more funds to do this sort of work, to look at what has been done in other cities. And again, some of these approaches work in some areas, they don't in others. So again, I guess my general comment is that this is not an ordinance. This is a general policy for the city, but I think we need to be careful about not getting people's expectations up too high that all of this is going to happen at once. But I think it sets out a wonderful roadmap for us to aspire to as a city, and hopefully moving up on that list. Carrie, you mentioned bronze. Hopefully we move up on that list through the leadership of the mayor and other members of the council here that we can attain that. But I guess I just want to bring a little dose of reality into the discussion, and with that, I just want to thank everyone for their work on this. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. I have a question. So bronze is what we were ranked now. Have we applied before and did not achieve bronze level? This is a new, or was this the first time we had applied for a status with the League of American Bicyclists?
Mayor, Council, we had applied, I believe, twice before in recent years. This is the first time we've been given any kind of ranking. In the last time we applied, we were given honorable mention or honor of note of something like that, but it wasn't a status.
And I assume it goes silver, gold, and then platinum is number one. Is there 4 levels?
That's correct.
All right. So in this plan, assuming we're able to accomplish the goals in it, will likely get us to platinum level. I know that the standards may change over time. If too many cities become successful in this regard, it may be a moving target. But assuming it stays relatively static, we'd like to get to the highest level.
Mayor, that's the goal of the street department and most of the people who have been coming to our meetings and asking for more bike infrastructure.
And I guess the question that Councilman Gates is a good one. Is this more of an aspirational document, or do we actually view this as a document that, you know, it's not a regulatory document, obviously, but you know, how is staff, assuming this passes as council, how is staff planning on utilizing this document?
Mayor, members of the council, I think Councilman Gates described it correctly. It's a policy document. It really is a guidance for us as we move forward. So in two areas, let me just comment. One, the use of the word will as an example. You're exactly right. If this were an ordinance, somebody could sue us and say, wait a minute, you said you will do X and you didn't do it, and therefore you're violating your own ordinance. This is aspirational. This is if the city is going to achieve the goal of moving up that ladder that you talked about, we're going to go forward and try to do this to the extent possible and where it's appropriate. Secondly, with regard to the funding priorities, staff has no problem with you sort of lifting the strict structure of those tiers. The committee was trying to give its best recommendations with staff guidance as to where the priorities were if funding were limited. But as you all know, the way you all set priorities is actually through your annual capital improvement process, where you set a 5-year capital improvement plan. And most of the work that is done here is done through the capital improvement plan. And I'll just give an example. There are 39 projects in there. If next week the federal government or some private foundation gave us a grant to do the last item on that priority list, by all means, we'd advance that to the very front. Or likewise, if the mayor and council look through the list of priorities and decide, you know, because of some issues going on in a particular area, we've decided that this should be the highest priority, whatever this is, then that's what would happen as a result of this.
Okay, I appreciate that. Let me maybe suggest an alternative, and that is we have a wonderful citizens committee that's going to be recommending a plan to this council about the future of Transit 2000, a reauthorization of Transit 2000. I think they're looking at making the city of Phoenix a much more bike-friendly city, utilizing those resources. This council is going to have to make a decision about whether we adopt the recommendations from our Citizens Committee for the Future of Transportation, place that on the ballot, and so there's going to be real dollars associated with this. I guess frankly, I'm less interested in an aspirational document. I want something that people can look to and say, that's what I want my city investing in, and so I don't want people thinking they're investing in bicycle plan. That is a document that we may glance at. I want a document we're going to utilize and come to life. Otherwise, I don't think a lot of us want to put our political reputations behind a reauthorization of Transit 2000 that's going to have a significant bike component. Please.
Yes, Mayor, I don't disagree with what you said. I guess my point is that we're not screwed into the ground on the ranking from 1 to 39 or a specific recommendation that might be implemented later versus earlier. Of course, this is something that's very significant, and as I said at the beginning, we do intend to take this as a guiding document for the staff to move forward. And if you all adopt this today, this is going to be sitting in front of the Future Transportation Subcommittee at their meeting on Saturday, because they're going to want to take a look at the various projects and priorities that are out there to be able to think about that as they sort through the priorities of all of the modes of transportation that they have to think about.
Thank you very much. Councilman, you had a question? I apologize.
Yes, Mayor. I just want to thank the task force for coming out with this document. Great document. One of the things that concerns me is talking about the safety of the individuals on the bike and also the motorists. When you go into a major intersection and you're on a bike lane, it kind of disappears. And where does the bike actually, which lane does the bicyclist actually stay in? So I really want to look into how do you have that continuous bike lane throughout the major intersections throughout our city of Phoenix. I mean, Grand Avenue is a fine example. We have a beautiful bike lane, but then when you get up to Grand and 7th Avenue, it disappears. And I see that there's almost accidents happening because people are confused where they're supposed to be at. So if we can look at the whole safety and the continuance through these intersections, that would be something I'd like to see in this document.
Thank you very much. How does the plan address bike safety issues? Because I think that is a serious issue in the city of Phoenix, where the perception that we are less safe than other cities from a bicyclist perspective.
Sure. Mayor, Councilman Nowakowski, that's a great question, and it's a question that we spend quite a bit of time working on each year. To answer the specific question about the bike lanes coming up to the intersection, for many years, as you probably know, we did exactly what you're describing. We would end the bike lanes a couple hundred feet back from the intersections in the thought that right-turning traffic and bicyclists would merge and kind of figure it out as they go. That is not the policy moving forward, and that's not what we've been doing. We're trying to make up for sort of the policies of the past at this point, and bringing those bike lanes up to the intersection and where we can through the intersection to provide guidance both for the bicyclist and for the motorist. So that is an ongoing policy change. As far as the larger picture, the intent is that not only will we become the best bicycling city in the country, but the safest. We recognize that as bicycle trips increase, the chances that bicyclists will be involved in collisions increases as well. I and my staff and the rest of the street department and the rest of the city is working on ways to make bicycling safer. They include extending the traffic signal timing for bicyclists, bicycle education through our Bike to School program, bicycle outreach through some of the groups in the area or in the city, new bike lanes, new bike delineations, and generally trying to get people who are in cars more accustomed to the fact that when they're taking a vehicle trip, they're more likely than not to see bicyclists or to see people using the bike lanes. So we are doing everything we can to increase or improve bicycle safety. We are well aware of that. So thank you for bringing it up, though.
Thank you very much. Councilwoman?
Thank you. Before being elected, I had the pleasure of chairing the Phoenix Environmental Quality Commission when we created the bicycle subcommittee, and so would like to thank all the people who served on that, in addition to the people who serve on the current committee. There's been a lot of citizen involvement at budget hearings and in committees to create this process, and we've come a long way. I have a letter saying the city of Phoenix spends $30,000 on bicycling, and we really are doing almost everything we can. That's not that old, so we've come a long way, and appreciate the streets department for doing this, and all the other departments, because if this is going to succeed, planning and development needs to be involved in making sure that we have good buildings that are bicycle friendly, and the police department needs to be involved on the safety side. We've often talked at these committee meetings about just educating people and drivers about their roles with bicyclists and how close they can pass, things like that would be the best thing we could do for bicycling. So it really can't just be the streets department. We need to continue to have a citywide involvement in this, and I think we need to continue to have citizens involved beyond just the complete streets, because it is broader than that if we are going to have a bicycle-friendly city. But it is exciting that we hit bronze if the plan says that we will do it by 2019, so we are well ahead of schedule, having done it already, and very exciting. Was on the committee when we failed to get that in the past, so it is not something they give to everyone, and is a real recognition. And I was just speaking that this has to be more than just streets. Could you guys talk a little bit about what you think are the most important recommendations in the plan outside of streets infrastructure?
Yes, Councilwoman Gallego, Mayor and staff and Council. Probably the most important single recommendation within the master plan, outside of the infrastructure that we're talking about, is going to be improving awareness of drivers and bicyclists of the laws, and specifically the enforcement aspects of it. We're working with our partners in police to try and address some of the issues on not only traditional enforcement of motor vehicle laws, but also enforcement of maybe the lesser known bicycle laws, how motorists interact with bicyclists and how bicyclists interact with motorists. Probably the best thing we can do for the bicycling public is let them understand that they have allies in the city, including the police, and including the public, that know that they have a right to be out there on the road and that they have people looking out for them. Second to that, it's certainly important that we continue our efforts to educating the school children. Most of you know that we have probably the most successful bike and walk to school programs in the country. Last year, I believe we reached out to over 20,000 students, parents, and teachers in Phoenix with bicycle and pedestrian education. And that's going to pay dividends, not only today, but as those students grow up and become drivers, hopefully they stay bicyclists, and as they become citizens of this city. So enforcement and education, I think, are probably the two largest or best aspects of the program outside of the infrastructure side of it. And yes, we can't do it alone. We are working with multiple partners throughout the city.
Wonderful, thank you. And as we do talk about the list of projects, the #1 project is on 3rd Street, and it's timely that we're talking about this at the same time we're talking about the South Central extension, because I think we may talk about the demographics in the area and many folks who don't have cars, so they will be using the light rail, but many of them also use bicycles as a very important mode of transportation to and from work, and it's one of the areas in our city where I regularly see folks who are not in the safest paths on bicycles, and so this will be an important safety and economic development corridor. So I think that one was chosen wisely. And since we have many members of the Citizens Commission on the Future of Transportation here, I hope that that will be something that they will include in their recommendations as well.
Thank you very much, Councilman. Any other comments or questions by this council? Councilman Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. Going on with the safety, one of the things I've observed that there are a lot of adults that do not understand what the rules are. They're wrong side of the street, wrong direction. They don't know how to give arm turn signals anymore. I think they're too used to just being able to flip a lever. So I think we need to have included in your safety program a section for adults that they understand fully too. We can't count on all the kids training their parents. I too want to thank everybody who participated in this. It took a lot of time and a lot of effort. But they come up with a good plan, and I think it will be something that can go forward in this city to make us multimodal. It is amazing to me how many of the younger people have no desire to drive. They don't even care about getting a license. They're very happy with public transit and bicycles. And I think it's good that we are recognizing that and including it in our street design. We know that it's expensive. Just to put the lane down the street is $10,000 a mile. So it will take a while to make this happen throughout the city. I think it's important that we also look outside our boundaries. If Glendale has a bike path coming and it stops at Phoenix's border, we need to recognize that and make sure that we continue it so we don't endanger people coming or going through that area, same through all of our suburbs. And I agree with Councilman Gates. I think at the subcommittee, we ask that you change the verbiage on that very last sentence before the list to may. Use the word may so that there was the flexibility so that 5-10 years from now it's not interpreted as a must-do list. It has to stay in that. As councils change and staff changes, interpretation also changes. So I just want to make sure that we have a flexibility. But I want to thank staff. You've worked tirelessly on this. And Gary, I know you've put in a lot of time and have worked not only with the committee but with the other departments to make this happen. And I congratulate you. It's a job well done. So thank you very, very much for doing that. And Mayor, I would move this forward with a recommendation to approve with the adjustments that have been stated here today.
Thank you very much, Councilman. We do have a member of the public here to speak. She is our friend, Lisa Parks, representing Phoenix spokespeople.
Mayor Stanton, can I say a few words before we get to the cards?
Do you want to jump in first, and then we'll go to Lisa? That'd be great. Lisa, when you speak, it'll be at these microphones over here. Okay. Thank you. Go ahead, Councilman Valenzuela.
Okay, I simply want to say thank you to everyone involved, especially the residents who have volunteered so much time to get to this point. I appreciate the dialogue. I think we're all looking for the same thing. We want to obtain something special. This moves us toward a more multimodal city. It moves us toward a healthier city. And Mayor Stanton, I think you deserve a lot of credit. This is a lot of what you are envisioning and what you've been talking about. And I also want to thank Councilwoman Williams, who chairs the Transportation Subcommittee, and I can't tell you how many times I've heard Councilwoman Williams talk about this very subject as well. So thank you for, the entire council, I think, has done something on this, but I specifically would like to thank Mayor Stanton, Councilwoman Williams, and, of course, every resident who has contributed the time and the effort, and, of course, city staff. So I think we're on the right track, and it's exciting.
Thank you very much, Councilman Valenzuela. Ms. Parks?
Thank you. I actually wasn't expecting to speak, so gather my thoughts a bit. Actually, earlier this year, I was hit by a car riding my bike, and the mayor reached out to me, so thank you for that. I know that he's really dedicated to making the city more bicycle-friendly. As a leader of our bicycle advocacy in Phoenix, bicycle advocacy group, I'm actually kind of terrified a lot of times to ride a bike in Phoenix, so I can imagine what other people who aren't as used to riding feel like. And I agree that we really need to adopt the bicycle master plan. We need to make it safer. We really need to focus on education. As Councilwoman Williams pointed out, there are a lot of bicyclists that are going the wrong way, and they don't know which way they're supposed to go. And we also need more education for motorists. That's terrifying for us when we're riding next to a car and it's speeding along and doesn't know that they're supposed to give bicyclists 3 feet. So the bicycle community is excited that we have received the bronze level status. However, we also feel that we have such a long way to go, so I think this really opens the discussion as to, now we can look at the report card that we received, and we can look at what we need to do to make our city more bicycle friendly and all the points that we need to do so that we can become platinum someday. So I hope that you will adopt the bike master plan so that we can move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa, very much. Glad you're okay. And we could not have a meeting involving biking in which the Phoenix spokespeople didn't represent. So thank you very much for your statement. Any other comments by members of this council? Councilman Gates.
Well, I don't believe the motion has been seconded yet, but I would ask if the maker of the motion would be willing to just go a little farther and agree that the projects the 39 projects that are listed here are identified as priorities, but not necessarily in the strict order that they are listed.
I would gladly include that.
Okay, so the friendly requesting amendment is that the 39 projects remain our priority projects, but not in the order listed. I've asked the Vice Mayor to tell me the page number of the list of plans, and he's looking through right now. Does that present issues for professional staff? I think the actual, for the members of the council, the actual priority of the project will depend on whether or not it's in their district.
And
so we may all have our own set of priorities here, yeah. Page 40, all right.
Mayor and Council, the ranking that is in the master plan is, we feel it's important, but it does represent a moment in time. The ranking was developed not only through the Bicycle and Pedestrian Ad Hoc Committee and their input, but also the input from residents in throughout the city. It does not have staff, it does not have council input, And although it has staff input, we all recognize that it is a work in progress, and it
Yep.
is also something that will be flexible.
Yes. In all seriousness, if an individual council member really wants to make one a priority, a la 32nd Street and District 3 and District 2, then based upon the energy and dynamism of the individual council members, that may move up automatically. So I think that's the request, is that the 39 projects don't represent, they represent the overall priorities, but not in the particular order. And that's accepted by the maker of the motion. Okay. Any other, Councilman?
Yeah, and then, Mayor, just a couple things I wanted to add. On page 72, there's a reference made to a city ordinance, amending a city ordinance to preclude bicyclists from riding against traffic on sidewalks. Then it says a first draft of this ordinance is provided in Appendix J. I don't think we have Appendix J. I mean, this is getting into maybe if we can carve that out of the plan, because I certainly can't agree to that without, seeing that at all. I don't think that's the intent, that we would be agreeing to this, to any particular ordinance changes. So that would be my first request. And then the second thing also, I wanted to note, on page 101, there is a Cave Creek Wash reference, and it talks about the path going through Cave Creek Wash, and it says, a portion of the path between Greenway Parkway and the Cave Creek Golf Course access road is incomplete. It's done. We completed it. So good work, and if we could make that change to the plan, that was a big deal to get that completed, and so we don't want this great document to be
Dated. On the day we
That's
adopt
right.
it. All right.
It's done, thanks to the good work of staff.
All right, thank you very much. Now, and I want to make sure it's clear that if we adopt this document, we're not we're telling staff to go through the process of amending that ordinance, but it obviously would have to come back before this council it would go through the appropriate subcommittee, Councilman Williams subcommittee, and come before this council before an actual vote. And so I think that's the intent, is to sort of direct staff to begin the amendment process, knowing that it's going to come back. Is that okay with you? And if it go in that, or knowing that the devil's in the details.
Yeah,
obviously.
that's right. And literally, I mean, we have not even seen it, so I don't know what it says. But yeah, absolutely, Mayor. Obviously, that would have to go back through the council. Thank you.
Yes, Mayor, that's correct, to answer your question.
Okay, so will the maker of the motion accept what can only be described as a friendly motion that a project that's already completed get off our aspirational list?
Yes.
All right. And then noting on the amending the ordinance side, that is, again, that'll come back before subcommittee, so it's giving you direction to begin that process. Doesn't mean that any individual council member will support it at the end of the day. They'll have to review the details of that ordinance. Okay, those friendly amendments. Councilman Nowakowski?
And Mayor, just for that subcommittee to keep in consideration, I have 5 children under the age of 12, and a couple of my kids are still on training wheels, and they ride on they ride on the sidewalk with their bicycles, so we need to watch out for those types of ordinances that say that no bikes on the sidewalk and stuff like that. So if you can keep the kids in consideration and stuff like that.
That's a fair request. As you look at the ordinance, we'll look at best practices, what other quote bike-friendly cities that are on the silver, gold, or platinum level, how they've handled the issue of keeping people on the appropriate side of the street for safety purposes. That's obviously the intent of the proposed ordinance. Councilwoman?
To have a clarifying question on the motion. I do think there is some value in the work that the folks did to rank projects, and we have at least one project where I think we're going to be pursuing grant funding for a very highly ranked project. So I think we should still recognize the hard work that went into the rankings and that they are informative, but perhaps not a solid commitment. Is that okay? Because I do think I would love to be able to say in the grant, the Citizens Committee said this is a Tier 1 project, and I think that would matter to the people to whom we are applying.
Yeah, my impression is that without specific other direction from this council, all things being equal, that's going to be the guidance for the staff, because I assume they rank them based on highest impact projects. Where would we get the most bang for our buck? And we're chasing after grant dollars. Where we get the most bang for our buck is going to be a very important factor. But on issues like 32nd Street, which is not a Tier 1 project, but obviously there's a lot of passion from the community and from the elected officials on that, and there may be specifically chasing after some dollars for that. In that case, a project like that would jump ahead, because that's the personal passion of a council. We don't want to limit people's passion for their projects because their funding might not be there because they're a lower tier project. You know, we want people to be able to pursue their passions, if you will.
Great. But we did spend a lot of money to get these tiers, and I think they're informative and useful. And then the one recommendation that I also had questions about was the bike path along the proposed 202 Loop South Mountain Freeway. That did not seem like the most obvious place for a bike path to me, but I'm sure you could do it in a way that was safe, but it was not obvious.
Mayor, Councilwoman Gallego, actually, Councilman Gates asked me that question earlier today as well as he was reading the plan. And if the South Mountain Freeway is built along the currently proposed recommended alignment, Pecos Road will become an area where it's a lot easier to build a nice bikeway. There are some bike lanes there now, but you know, to improve, there may be an opportunity to build a bike path along that segment. There may also be, we wouldn't be building on a freeway, but
excellent
to make it possible for people on bikes to take that same general route is something I think that is desired and why it's on the list.
Okay, I'm glad it is not, the way it's written, it makes it sound like it follows the freeway, and thank you.
Abutting the freeway is probably a better way of putting it if the freeway gets constructed. All right. Other comments are by this council? So we have a motion and a second with the friendly amendments. And I just want to say it goes in many ways without saying, but we should make this point. Beyond the specifics of what's in the plan, in my experience, I think it's the experience of every member of this council as we do our economic development activities, recruiting jobs, asking companies to expand their operations, getting a reputation. Bronze is good, but we want to be platinum. Getting a reputation as a bike-friendly city is really important to our economy. Our ability to recruit people from out of state when they make a decision whether or not they want to come to Phoenix, Arizona to have their life or career, one of the things they look at is not just the quality of the schools, although they do. They want to make sure there are other jobs like the one they're taking so that they don't come here, and if they lose that job, they have to leave. They want to make sure they have that as well. A great arts and culture environment, and whether we are a multimodal city, including a bike-friendly city. That is I mean, I get asked that question a lot in the economic development activities. This is not, becoming a bike-friendly city is not kind of a touchy-feely thing. It is a real, very important issue for the future of the city if we're going to recruit the right kind of jobs and entrepreneurs to our community. So I'll certainly be supportive of it. I'm guessing everyone's going to be supportive of it, not just because in and of itself the improvements are going to be made, because what it means for us as a city, our identity, how we present ourselves to the rest of the country and the world. This will go a long way to help us be the kind of city, build the kind of economy that we want, recruit the kind of people that we need for our future. So I just want to make the point, the connection between bike friendliness and the right kind of economic development. Any other comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Passes unanimously that portion of the presentation. Next on the agenda is also on bicycling and improvement to the bicycle culture, is a presentation on Grid Bike Progress Report. We have heard about grid bikes for a while now. We haven't heard about it for a little while, and a lot of people in the community are wondering, are we going to move forward with grid bikes? Are we going to have bike share at the City of Phoenix? I just toured WebPT yesterday in the Warehouse District. It was great to see the bike infrastructure set up at WebPT, a great tech company that very much wanted that option for their employees as they ride to downtown, et cetera, and you're starting to see it pop up around the city. Grid bikes is coming. Better late than never. Yes. Mr. Neymar.
Mayor and members of the council, in getting from bronze to platinum, the next step is actually not silver, but green. And we are delighted to say we're getting there. And we apologize there wasn't a report in the packet, but Charlene and I were tracking DHL shipments last week to make sure everything was going to be here and ready to go. So I'm going to turn it over to Charlene Reynolds, who will tell you the good news. And Charlene, take it away.
Thank you, Rick. Mayor and members of the City Council, we are very excited to announce that after some refinements, Grid Bike Share is finally here. On Tuesday, November 25th, Phoenix will become the first city in Arizona to launch a public bike share program. A week from today, we will be celebrating this occasion with a ribbon cutting at Orpheum Plaza at 9 a.m. After the ribbon cutting, the public will have access to 27 stations along light rail in downtown and several stations in South Phoenix. This is a picture of an actual station that we demoed right across the street from Orpheum Theater. We also have a bike share bike here in the council chambers. The system will also open just in time for Black Friday. So at $79 a year, a GRID membership makes the perfect gift for the holidays. And finally, I would like to thank you, Mayor, and the City Council for your support in bringing Bike Share to Phoenix, and a big thanks to our regional partners, the cities of Mesa and Tempe, who will eventually be joining us in the system. So I hope to see you all on the 25th, and we do have some GRID promotional items, and come on out, wear your t-shirts, and join us in the GRID Life. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Questions from the council about grid bikes? What's happening?
Mayor, they're just bringing up some t-shirts and promotional materials for you all so that you can wear your proud t-shirts and help advertise GRID. I've already signed up for my founding membership and was one of the testers, and I will say, unless you're a mayor, they're pretty easy to use. So,
sounds like a challenge, Mayor. Jump on it.
Come on. Even Jim wearing. Even Jim wearing. Peer pressure. Peer pressure. Zelda asks, is a seat adjustable? Yeah. Can we get in her?
Mayor, oh, there he goes. Wear a helmet. Wear a helmet.
May we repeat about the safety training?
Right, yeah. Mayor, members of the council, I should mention, by the way, that some of the founding members who already have memberships will be out riding the first 50 bikes during the week between tomorrow and next Wednesday when it opens to the public. So you'll start to see them around, and there'll be questions and buzz about it. And I think the other city that is also working with the same vendor, Tampa, Florida, is launching around the same time right now with their Coast bike system. So we're excited to be in the same network as they are.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Councilman Gates had a question about the sustainability aspects of the bike.
Actually, I just wanted to be clear that the City Council chambers is not a Tier 1 priority, right? Even though, okay.
All right, so the message is GRID Bikes is coming. Look for those beautiful green bikes throughout the city. They'll be located downtown, midtown, South Phoenix in the Warehouse District. I think at the end, did we go as far south as the Ed Pastor Transit Center?
Yes, we do.
All right, so all throughout the center core, it's going to grow from there. For what is the cost of it? $79 for a year?
$79 per year.
$79 for the year. I love that light up front. It's a solar-powered GPS system in the back. And I think this will become part of the culture of this city, and it's not in part of our plan, but it's something that so many other modern cities are doing, and they're very, very popular in many of the other cities that have taken on bike share, and it's time for the city of Phoenix to do it as well. So let's get this thing started the right way, and I think you're going to see, I think it's going to be a very successful program. Mr. Neymark, any final thought? We have to vote on it, or we're okay? We're good to go. We
You
already
voted on it a
this,
while ago. I did want to just recognize and introduce John Romero from GRID, who's here, and he is a local manager involved, and he may have some other folks here as well. I don't know, but we're very happy to work in partnership with them.
All right, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Go GRID Bikes. All right, next item on the agenda. I hope there are no fans of this program on here, but much less exciting than the one we just talked about. Home rule. We got to put it on the ballot this year. So we got to talk about item number 4, beginning of the review of our home rule option. Mr. Manager, who's handling this one?
Mayor, Budget and Research Director Mario Paniagua and his staff will be shepherding this process. Very important, and it's gearing towards the August 2015 ballot by state law. Mario?
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. And Mayor, although I may be the only one that's excited about the home rule today, it's not often we get to use the word quadrennial, but when home rule comes out, we do get to use that word, and we want to impress you by putting it in our reports. So what we're talking about today is the city's home rule option of the state-imposed spending limit. So the spending limit is a provision within the state constitution that's been in place since 1980 that limits spending for cities and towns and counties in Arizona to their actual expenses in fiscal year 1979-1980 with adjustments for population and inflation. The Constitution also recognizes the likely need for exceptions, so it includes provisions for voters of cities and towns to be able to approve an alternate spending limit. The alternative expenditure limitation is known as home rule. It places the local decision about spending levels at the local level in the hands of the people that are directly impacted by those decisions, and home rule options cover the subsequent 4 fiscal years after voters approve. Phoenix voters since 1980 have approved home rule options 8 times. Each of those times involved the establishment of a mayor and council appointed task force to study Phoenix's current fiscal situation and the impact of the limitation, and to make a recommendation for the next steps. Since 1999, Phoenix's spending limit has been set at its budget, which, as all of you know, is really a national model for being a very open process that brings extensive community involvement at several budget hearings, council forums, and other discussions and ways for residents to communicate budget needs. Phoenix voters last approved home rule in 2011, which covered fiscal years 2012-13 through 2015-16. So in order to cover the next 4-year period beginning in July of 2016, a ballot proposition would need to go before voters in August of 2015. Statewide, nearly all cities and towns have an alternative approved by their voters to adjust spending levels using a different method than the state-based formula for 1979-1980 spending. This slide shows you the cities that have approved a home rule this year. So the approvals are based on the city's election cycles and timing. 3 Valley cities have had home rule solidly approved this year: Mesa, Chandler, and Queen Creek. So the reason home rule is so important, as you can imagine, population and inflation-based limit does not account for a city's unique needs, particularly a city at the center of a large metropolitan area. For example, Phoenix voters have made decisions to approve additional funding to expand police and fire, and transit and parks and preserves. Those additional services could not be funded without home rule in place. Phoenix also manages an international airport that serves the entire region and even the state. And even though the funding for that airport, Sky Harbor, comes from the airport users, the costs to run the airport are part of Phoenix's budget, and therefore are part of would count against Phoenix's spending limit. Other regional services include water, wastewater, bus and light rail, convention center. Phoenix provides services that did not exist in 1980, like ambulance service and recycling programs. The formulaic limit does not account for costs to comply with federal regulations and mandates that did not exist in 1980, security costs to protect infrastructure that have risen since 9/11. So none of those factors are included in that formulaic limit. Phoenix has grown up quite a bit in the last 34 years. This slide shows some of the major changes that have occurred in Phoenix since 1980. The population has doubled. The city has increased in size by nearly 200 square miles, which the growth in and of itself is larger than Scottsdale, Arizona, or Denver, Colorado. The number of authorized police officers and firefighters has grown considerably. Emergency medical calls has more than tripled. The airport's growth since 1980 is really off the charts. They currently serve more than 6 times the number of passengers that went through Sky Harbor in 1980, and developed park acreage is more than 4 times what it was. So the next steps involve initiating the Phoenix process and establishing a new task force and the setting of their charge to review detailed forecasts and study the potential effects of the constitutional limit and recommend a solution to the mayor and city council. This next slide just gives you an overview of what the timeline looks like. After an appointment of that task force this week, the task force will meet in December and January and conduct their review. In February, the task force would present findings to the city council. March would begin the time that public hearings begin. And then August of 2015 is when the election would happen. Staff is requesting council action today to get the process started and the expenditure limit task force established. Happy to take any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Any comments or questions or a motion on this item? Councilman Nowakowski? No? Anybody? Councilman Williams?
No, I know this is always a challenge, and explaining it to the public why it's so important. That I think your slides were excellent, showing the difference between 80 and 2014, 15, or 16. So I would move staff's recommendations for approval.
I'll second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any additional comments or questions? There's no cards from the audience. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Good luck. Thank you very much. Look forward to your recommendation. Next item on the agenda is our light rail action plan. We've had numerous light rail presentations in the recent past. We get to have another one looking at the future of our light rail system. I know council members, I think, have places to go, and I don't want to lose a quorum, so as reasonably quickly as possible this item. Thank you so much.
Sure. Mayor, members of the council, we have 3 separate items. It's like speed project today with 3 different recommendations. Maria Hyatt and Albert Santana are here, and they're going to kind of piggyback. We're going to start with Albert with a recommendation related to the South Central Transit Corridor study. This is a project that's not unfamiliar to you, but we're now ready to move to the next phases. And so, Albert, will you kick that one off?
Thank you, Rick. Mayor, members of the council, we're excited to come back with another recommendation on the South Central Corridor. This first slide is just a little bit of background. So back April of this year, you all approved staff's recommendation to move forward with 2 items. One, which was light rail as the mode for this corridor, as well as the alignment, which primarily connects downtown Phoenix with Central and Baseline along a Central Avenue corridor. You also directed staff to go back and look at 2 items now that the alignment had been approved. That was looking at the roadway configuration as it relates to right-of-way impacts, as well as looking at the specific station locations that would serve this corridor. Based on that direction, staff then worked with our partners at Valley Metro Rail, who are also here in the audience with us. I would like to quickly recognize them. We have Steve Banta, who's here to my right, as well as Wolf Grote. And so in our work with Valley Metro, we looked at this corridor, worked with the community, the business community, the schools in the area, as well as our street transportation department. Currently, South Central is a 4-lane configuration, 2 lanes northbound, 2 lanes southbound. As a part of the introduction of this light rail project along Central Avenue, we are moving forward with a recommendation for a 2-lane configuration, which would be 1 lane northbound, 1 lane southbound. It also would include a bike lane connection from downtown Phoenix all the way through to Central and Baseline. In addition to that, to balance out the need for right-of-way impacts as well as vehicle capacity, we are recommending flared-out intersections, which is shown in the graphic there at Baseline, Southern, Broadway, and Buckeye Road. The second item was looking at the station locations. It's a 5-mile corridor, and staff is proposing 7 station locations going from the south to the north. One would be in the Baseline area, Southern, Rozier, Broadway, the Audubon Center, which sits just to the south of the riverbank. The community was very adamant about the importance of having a light rail station in that area, as well as at Buckeye Road and Lincoln Street. Here is another graphic that gives you an idea of what a station would actually look like at any one of these locations. Very similar to what we have today. You would have the 2 through lanes with a 1 left turn lane pocket. Pedestrians would be able to access the center platform via a crosswalk at a signalized safe crossing to get onto the train. Community outreach is absolutely a vital part of anything we do related to public transit, as ultimately these systems are for the community. Valley Metro and their public involvement team did an outstanding job truly listening and responding to the public. Over 90 meetings were conducted, 9 of which were held by Valley Metro. We also worked with Parks and Recreation Department, Neighborhood Services Department, and attended existing events within the community, all with the effort to get feedback from the community. One very specific outreach we did was with the business community. And in working with the business community, we really started to better understand the characteristics within this corridor, and we heard several things loud and clear. Make sure that we as a staff take advantage of all lessons learned, both for examples that we have currently here in the Phoenix area as well as at the national scale, as well as pulling any best practices to prepare, making sure that the programs are customized to be best adequate for that particular area. Always communicate, and when possible, start as soon as we can. And you'll see at the final, we're recommending to really start these programs sooner than we have in the past, and South Central would be one of the first that we would be doing that early effort program with. So here is, again, a graphic similar to what you saw before. The differences here is we have the specific 7 station locations, and we also highlight the 4 areas where we have the 4 flared intersections. This graphic here shows where we are in the process and really gives us the opportunity to recognize through the leadership of Mayor and City Council, we were able to be successful for the city receiving its first Tiger Grant. And via that Tiger Grant through the Federal Transit Administration, that was the catalyst for helping us to begin the environmental work and the conceptual engineering. So again, we would just like to thank you all for your leadership in helping us successfully to get the Tiger Grant Award. And with that, staff would like to recommend City Council approval of the locally preferred alternative, which again includes the 2-lane configuration, the 4 flared intersections, our 7 light rail stations, and to then direct staff to commence the environmental review, some of the conceptual engineering, and begin some preliminary development of a business assistance program, noting that on November 12th, the Transportation and Infrastructure Subcommittee did unanimously approve this item. And with that, we'll be happy to take any.
Thank you very much. And I'll take about 4 or 5 cards from the audience, and then I'll hand it over to the council members for comments or questions or a motion on 5A. Ms. Williams, did you testify on 5A? Or is it Mr. Williams? I apologize. Is that, okay. 5A, South Central Light Rail? 5C, okay, I'll hold off on that. Martin Quintana on 5A. Floor is yours. Come on down up to 2 minutes. Followed by Eva Olivas. Did you wish 5A, Eva? Okay, so you'll be next. Okay, go ahead.
Council, thanks for letting me be here. First of all, we simply want to express our support for this project going forward, especially in consideration of expansion to South Phoenix. I'm Martin Quintana with Chicanos por la Causa. And as a community development organization, nonprofit organization, a couple of reasons why we support this is one is we want better access to our services from the community. And right now we currently have a couple of service centers along the rail lines, and we're hoping that this effort and expansion will give better access to our communities that we want to serve with our efforts. And the other thing is that with economic development, we feel that this expansion, especially along South Phoenix, is that it'll increase economic development, businesses, and job creation. That's something that we fully support, and hopefully at some point that there's going to be better connection between downtown Phoenix all the way down to South Mountain. We feel there's a gold mine there that can be a destination point in the future for people to enjoy the park. So in general, I just want to express our support for this program.
That's a great point. I have a question for you. I assume you're already on the list, but we could use your help in support in developing a South Central unique program for business assistance during the construction phase. We want to make sure we're doing all we can and should be doing to support the small businesses. You know, you drive down Central Avenue to the south, you see a ton of small locally owned businesses. We want to make sure we help them, and obviously CPLC is really good at that, so maybe you could help us develop our program.
Yeah, definitely count on us for that, yes.
Okay, I appreciate that very much. We'll take note of that. All right, any other questions for Mr. Quintana from CPLC? Eva, followed by Elizabeth Polito. Are you here for item 5A? This one? Okay, you're next then, okay.
Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. My name's Eva Olivas. I'm with Phoenix Revitalization Corporation. Most people know us as PRC. We work primarily in Central City South, which is south of the railroad tracks, north of the Rio Salado, from I-17 on the west to the airport on the east. We have, if you look at numbers, we have 13 neighborhoods, 12,000 residents for those people who think the flight path over the original flight path was over industrial. We have 12,000 residents. We have a little over 451 businesses, 32 faith-based groups, and several school districts. It's home to most of the public housing in the city of Phoenix, and our residents are extremely dependent on public transportation. Our residents are resilient. They understand the community wisdom, and they created in 2008, we started working on the Quality of Life Plan. It was through amazing support from local funders that PRC began facilitating community gatherings to assist residents and stakeholders in documenting their strategies and their visions and ideas on how to improve their neighborhood. In 2010, we published the document, the Quality of Life Plan. This plan drives the work in Central City South then and today. As new development encroaches in our area, and we are at the doorsteps of every investor and developer who comes into the community so we can see how they can work with us to change our community. In this plan, they identified 8 strategies: recreation, health, services, individual development, housing, economic development, golden threads, and transportation. I gave you a summary document of our quality of life plan, the full document. I did write on the back. They have their own website, and you can go and see the full document. It is a 100% resident-written Word document that defines what the future will be in Central City South. We are in full support of the light rail extension. We ask that you keep in mind that Central City South residents stated in their quality of life plan that economic development was extremely important. They want to support our local businesses. We've observed the impact on previous routes. We ask that you care for our businesses the same as you care for our residents. It is our hope that this light rail extension will bring more opportunity to Central City South, not replace what is existing there. Please let us know how we can assist you, and we do thank our Councilwoman Kate Gallego and Councilman Nowakowski, which share our district with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your advocacy, and we will take you up on that very kind offer. Ms. Polito is next, and then Bill Pangrazio, you're here for 5C, I think. There you are. Yeah, for 5C. Okay. Ms. Polito, good to see you.
Good afternoon, members, Mayor and members of the City Council. I'm here just to let you know that I'm full support in the light rail, and I'm here to remind you in September when we took the bus over to, to take that ride. I want to refresh in that memory of you of my kids in the 3 classes of 30 kids in that little bus stop. Just to imagine again how important it is to us as a school right next door to Central. And again, our residents that we all talk about, I see them every day, I talk to them every day, I meet with them every day, and again, it's important. Their main transportation is the public transit, so I'm just very supportive of it, and I'm hoping that you keep supporting it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your support is appreciated very much and needed. Also in support, not wishing to speak, Mr. David Kreider. president of the Downtown Phoenix, Inc. Jill Clements, are you here on this item or a different item? 5C, okay, perfect, I'll hold off on that. And then how about Carl Schaefer? In favor, okay, thank you. In 5A, the South Central? Okay, appreciate it very much. Okay, so we are done with cards. I'll hand it over to Councilwoman Gallego.
Thank you. This is a very exciting milestone for us. I think this will be an important leg in really connecting so many of our residents who will use this system regularly, and it will connect a lot of students to our downtown and to educational opportunities, but also connect people who are on the system right now to some of the most beautiful places in our city, like the Audubon Center. So it will be a really important educational tool in addition to economic development. And I know Councilman Nowakowski and I are both dedicated to making sure we get our fair share of infrastructure funding in the South Central Corridor, and this will be very important in moving it forward. I think it's also going to be a very competitive program federally, because will just bring the ladders of economic opportunity that the White House has been prioritizing. And so very excited about this milestone. Thank you so much to Albert, to the team at Valley Metro. I will miss seeing you at every meeting when it's done, but I know we have a lot more meetings to go to, and we really appreciate all the time you spent with businesses and residents and the commitment to continue to make this a successful project for people who live and work along the light rail. We've learned a lot from other projects, so maybe we're lucky we didn't get to go first, because it will be a better process for all we learned in the past. But thank you to all, and very excited about the opportunity this represents. And thank you to Elizabeth and Eva for making sure the Deputy Secretary of Transportation knows how important this project is. We have some great lobbyists in the audience who really were willing to share personal stories and put a face on all the opportunity that this project represents. And thank you to, I think a very large portion of the council has met with the Department of Transportation in DC. The mayor and I had a great meeting with the leadership of the Transportation Department, and people at this table have been there many times as well to make sure that they are aware of the opportunities this project represents.
Thank you very much. The good news for you is that as this project moves forward, you'll be spending even more time with Albert. So, I mean, you have not seen the last of him. I mean, you're going to spend, you guys will be attached at the hip. Councilman Nowakowski.
Well, Mayor, first of all, I really want to thank our staff for reaching out to the community, getting the community involved, from the churches to the nonprofits to small businesses to the schools, and we got a system now that we really have the input from the neighborhoods and the community. One of the best practices that I've seen down the Avenida Rio Salado was about 2 years ago. Our office asked all the different departments of the city of Phoenix to meet once a month, and we have over 30 individuals meeting once a month, and we're actually collaborating and communicating with each department, and it's becoming very effective, and it's a great way to work. So once we start getting closer and the funding is there, I'd like to see our office and Kate Gallego's office and all the different departments, from art and culture to streets to whoever is involved in this project, meet at least on a monthly basis so that we can have that lines of communication. The process is working in Avenida Rio Salado, and I think it'll work here. The other thing is, I believe we have a strong advocate in Washington, D.C., and I think District 8 has a very good connection there, and we need to make sure we continue getting that federal funds, right? Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Any other comments or questions? Did we have a motion already or not?
Who's District 8's contact?
Yeah. Councilman Williams, please, yes.
Real quick. This went through the Transportation Subcommittee and was approved immediately. We're very supportive of it and see this as a future, so I would move approval.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any additional? Second. Got multiple seconds. Any other comments or questions by members of this council? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. It passes on a 7-1 vote. Next item on the agenda is the Northwest Phase 2 Light Rail Extension Update, 5B. Very quickly, please.
Mayor, lest you get tired of Albert's voice, we decided to let Maria Hyatt present on this one.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. Since I was the one that originally started this project, I'm honored to be able to give you an update on this. The council actually approved the locally preferred alternative on this project back in 2007. actually in 2005. And then the locally preferred alignment was amended in 2007. And basically that decision in 2007 was to split the Northwest Extension into 2 phases, of which the first extension is currently under construction from Bethany Home to Dunlap on 19th Avenue, and that is expected to open in early 2016. And we're talking today about the phase 2 of the Northwest Extension, which is expected to open in 2026. So when you're going through the project definition stage, it has many steps, many elements to it. And part of that is really looking at determining the project's feasibility, looking at what the ridership will be, what are the economic development opportunities, how will pedestrians and bicyclists reach the station, and looking at the land use around it so that you can maximize the value that light rail brings to a community. So the following map shows you that the original alignment back in 2005 and 2007 actually stopped at I-17. It did not go west and over to Metro Center Mall. And this amendment requests approval to modify that alignment to move across and go east of the I-17. The map that you see shows in the yellow block in the southwest corner the existing transit center. And we've looked at several options or alignments to see the best way to service this region, of which one of them was Dunlap, which allowed us to connect to the existing transit center. We looked at Sherrill Drive, and we also looked at Mountain View. But for a variety of reasons, including economic development opportunities, the land use at the mall, as well as the ability to move north and west in the future, the recommended alignment is to cross the I-17 at Mountain View Road. The station location will be just west of the frontage road. And again, what this alignment does is it helps connect several education institutions. For instance, we know that 38% of our riders are students, and being able to connect those opportunities along Dunlap and along 25th Avenue makes all the sense for this community. For those of you who have worked with us on light rail projects, you know it's a very long process. And so we're currently in the planning phase on this process, and we will have many more opportunities to be talking to the community as we finalize this project and continue to move it forward, as well as working on the environmental assessment on the project. And finally, our recommendation today is that we're requesting that you amend the locally preferred alternative, initiate the process of updating the regional transportation plan to include the amended alignment, and include the Northwest Phase 2 light rail extension into any proposed extension of the Transit 2000 plan. This item was recommended by the Transportation and Infrastructure Subcommittee on November 12th. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Any questions for Ms. Hyatt? Do we have a motion?
Mayor, this is our revitalization area. Councilman Gates and I have spent a lot of time working with the community, the businesses, the residents on how we could improve this. And I will say that the redevelopment of Metro Center and the Ring Road is dependent upon light rail crossing I-17. It will become a major economic boom to the area, as well as I thoroughly believe this opens up the west side, the northwest area of the valley. It is important for students, and I want to thank Albert and Maria for all the hard work you have put in, a lot of time. You have been extremely creative on the alignment of this. We found, Albert, I can't say we, just Albert did it.
There were a lot of people.
Was very creative in figuring out, once it's on the west side of I-17, where it is, and that it minimizes any damage in parking for the mall, but provides very good transit services for the residents and for those commuting that can catch it there. So I would move approval.
Second.
We have motion. Second, Councilman?
Thank you, Mayor. I want to give a big shout out to Councilwoman Williams for all her effort. She's been working on this issue for years, and she's the driving force behind the redevelopment of Metro Center, and this is absolutely a key piece of this. And I think the realignment or the new alignment that you proposed here makes a lot of sense. And it's really wonderful because Councilman Williams and I have had the opportunity to see how the community has come together, the business owners in the North Mountain redevelopment area, which, you know, has been, has the stamp of approval of this council. And I think this is really going to supercharge those efforts. And I have to say, if this happens, light rail will finally come to District 3. You know, it'll just be a little bit there, but it's a start, and it is very important for the redevelopment of this area. And also, I thought that was a great point as it relates to the educational institutions that are located in District 3 right there. We'll go right by Ottawa University, which is growing and talking about some really exciting expansion. ITT Technical Institute as well. So we look forward to this, and I proudly second this motion.
All right, we have a motion. We have a second. Councilman Nowakowski.
Mayor, I just really want to thank Councilmember Williams for all her hard work. For the last 7 years, anytime we talked about light rail, there was always that bridge crossing the I-17 to Metro Center. I know this has been that, yes, we can, and it finally, we're seeing the light. A recommendation for staff, if this happens, I believe that extension, we should name it after Williams. The Williams extension, she's worked so hard on this, and congratulations, Thelda, for all your hard work.
All right, thank you very much. Do you want that part of the motion, or is that just a polite recommendation? All right, thank you. Thank you very much. And I, too, want to say thank you to Councilman Williams for his steadfast, long-standing, consistent, and passionate support to get to this point. We got a long way still to go, but we're heading in the right direction. Metro Center is so important to the future of this city. It'll be a model for how to redevelop the older style, big indoor malls when the ownership there gets it right in partnership with the city. And so people watching at home, what you see at Metro Center now will be something very different a decade from now, and it will be, the future development of Metro Center will be directly related to how they can take advantage of light rail and what light rail brings to the table. Much more important employment center for our entire region. Councilman.
That's right, Mayor, and I think it just sets a great precedent for Paradise Valley Mall. Thank you.
In 2062.
All right.
We won't live to see it.
So the motion is to support staff recommendation and the Transportation Subcommittee recommendation for the proposed alignment for Northwest Phase 2 light rail extension. It's the Metro Center extension. We know what we're talking about. A motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? One no. So the motion passes on a 7-1 vote. 5C is the final item on today's discussion of light rail, and it is station feasibility study. We've asked that we've looked at other possible future stations for access to parks, particularly in East Phoenix along the Washington corridor, and I think that's what we're going to be talking about today. Mr. Nehmart.
Yes, Mayor, council members, light rail is so popular that people want to add stations on the existing line, and so you asked us to do a study of a couple of particular requests. It's been a long process. Albert will do a really quick job of walking you through the conclusions which were recommended by the Transportation Subcommittee.
Thank you, Rick. Mayors, members of the City Council. This slide here gives you a quick background as far as what we looked at over the last 2 years in evaluating both the 16th Street area as well as the 48th Street area. It involves some initial evaluation, and then as we advanced options, we got into more detailed assessments of each. For the 16th Street option, we had three station areas that we looked at: 16th Street, 17th Street, and 18th Street. And going through the technical assessment as well as the public feedback, 16th Street quickly became the obvious choice from the community as well as from staff's perspective. This is just a graphic that depicts it a little closer, that shows where the actual stations would be located if this were to be. And as we got into the detailed results on the 16th Street option, the approximate capital cost for this station addition is just under $10 million. We were able to find a way to build it without impacts to right-of-way. However, it did not meet our station criteria in the current condition, mostly because we do have an existing station between 12th and 13th Street. However, at the subcommittee meeting on October 22nd, The subcommittee did request staff to defer this option at this time, and at the conclusion of the Reinvent Phoenix project that we could come back and reevaluate the potential of this corridor, which was amenable for staff as well as for the community. As we got into 48th Street, again, we had several options for possible stations. One right at 48th Street, which would involve a split station, so half the station would be for eastbound and the other half would be for westbound. This was a creative option for us in a way to try to add a station without having major impacts for right-of-way. Options B and C were very similar in the sense of that they would be on the outside of the guideway, but a little closer to the major destinations in the area. As you all know, a big part of why this study began was through our work with ABLE, Arizona Bridge to Independent Living, as well as other stakeholders in this area, and the community was very clear to staff that while the 48th Street option may be technically more feasible, the major destinations are closer to 50 and 49th Street, so if there was a way for staff to work through options B and or C1, and we did just that. This here shows 48th Street. Again, the blue line represents where the actual stations will be. And then as we got into option B, we would again build a split station on the outside of the guideway, but this did give us a technical solution to get the station a little closer to where the major destinations would be. And with that, with the detailed assessment, we are recommending to move forward with either options A and or B, noting that when we met with the community at the final recommendation for this study, the community did unanimously favor option B as it is closer to the major destinations in that area. And with that, staff's recommendation, which was also unanimously supported by the subcommittee, would be to advance options A and B for 48th Street while deferring the 16th Street until we get done with the Reinvent Phoenix process, and then we would come back for 16th Street. And with that, we'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. I'll take community comments and then go to the council members, but appreciate that work. I know it was intensive work to get even to this point, but it's exactly what we asked you to do. Phil Pangrazio, you wanted to give testimony on 5C?
Thank you.
There you are. Good to see you.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council members. I first just want to say I want to support the recommendation for the option B at 50th Street in Washington, near the Disability Empowerment Center. But I want to thank the City Council and the Mayor for, first of all, supporting the doing this feasibility study. And I want to thank staff, Albert and his team. We put him through the mill on this project to really make him and his team figure this out and think about what all the possible options were, because it is kind of complicated down there. And to meet the needs of people with disabilities that were going to come access the Disability Empowerment Center and the Piper Sports and Fitness Center, it was really critical that we get this stop in the proper location that was going to meet everybody's needs. So they came up with that option, and we really appreciate that Albert and his team made that happen. So, but there's a lot of, there's been a lot of development in that corridor since light rail went in, and we think there'll even be more development in the future in that corridor. There's, again, lots of different businesses around there in addition to us. So we really think, and I will mention, this is the one section of light rail where there's a 2-mile stretch without a station, and the average stretch along is a quarter mile, but between 44th Street and Priest is really 2 miles. So this would put this location would put it approximately, there would be a mile apart between, but it would really close to the Disability Empowerment Center. So it would serve the hundreds and thousands of people with disabilities that are coming to to the Disability Empowerment Center. And again, we would appreciate that you support this recommendation, and we thank you very much for.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pangrazio, for your leadership. I have a question for you, which is, have you had a chance to survey people with disabilities in the community and whether they're much more likely to access Disability Empowerment Center if there was a light rail station right nearby? Would you pick, would your customers pick up, if you will?
They definitely would use it and are now. I mean, I know personally because my office oversees the entryway into the Disability Empowerment Center. I see people all day long, either walking or wheeling in wheelchairs up to the Disability Empowerment Center, and they are coming from the light rail station. So I know it's going to benefit in either from folks that are coming from connections on the buses or the light rail. Yes.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments? Thank you for your leadership. Mr. Williams, you're going to provide the testimony as well?
Thank you. I'm much in support of having the light rail stop for option B. My name is Kuhn Williams, and I can't drive because not only do I have a traumatic brain injury, but also have peripheral vision loss. So I very much utilize public transportation. I was on the light rail admiring the Disability Empowerment Center when I noticed Ideation Design Group. The name sounded familiar, and when I took a chance and I went in for an interview and landed a job there. So not only do I work there, I mean, not only is it next to the Disability Empowerment Center, but I work there, you know? So I take the light rail. My biggest issue is that I take the light rail and to the stop on 48th Street in Washington, or not 48th Street in Washington, 48th Street in Washington, or Priest in Washington, and I have to walk that distance to get to work or to get to the Disability Empowerment Center. So, I mean, I think the Disability Empowerment Center attracts those with disabilities nationwide, and I believe you would be helping the thousands with disabilities who can't drive and they can utilize the Disability Empowerment Center, maybe acquire employment nearby like me.
Thank you very much. I'll ask you the same question.
Yeah.
So you think business would pick up if we were able to get a light rail center station right by Disability Empowerment Center? How many folks in the community that currently don't use those services would use them?
It would give people the option to look for jobs around that area. You know, we're also right next to the stockyards too. So, I mean, there's plenty of places around there to look for an employment and just to do job searching, you know, and be able to work out after you get off work, you know, it's beautiful, so.
Thank you very much. Any other comments, questions? Okay, other speakers cards in support but not wishing to speak. Ted Rabin, hope I got that name correctly. Thank you for being here in support. And Jill Clements, thank you for being here in support. I have no other cards of the item. Anybody wish to testify on 5C? I'll open up to members of the council. Jim Waring.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm not exactly sure how long the Disability Empowerment Center has been at that location. I do wish there'd been a stop there when this was originally laid out. I think the price, as I remember it, Councilman DeCiccio and myself had a lot of questions about this when it was first broached 6 months ago or a year ago, whenever that was. It's been quite a while. I think the cost was because it's more expensive to stick a station in an existing rail than it is to build a station as you go. Is that correct?
Yes.
And this will be the closest you can possibly get it to the Disability Empowerment Center.
Right. Some of the factors that we had to look at was we have the Tavera Castle, which is just to the east of this, which is a federally protected facility from historic preservation. But at the same time, the option B that we are recommending here actually does provide the station that has the closest proximity to the main entrance of the Disability Empowerment Center.
Because I would think disproportionate compared to the general population of folks going to the Disability Empowerment Center, at least possibly, would be unable to drive and would want to use light rail to get there. So I just think it's a really opportune. I'm not, as you can tell by my previous votes, I'm not the biggest light rail fan. However, we already have it built there. It might be worth spending more money on a station to help more people get somewhere that they really need to go. Because if you're familiar with that complex, it's a big complex. I don't know how many people it serves, but I'm sure it's a lot. I mean, it's got a very large parking structure. It's a very large facility down there, in addition to the stockyards and other businesses that are down there. So I would hope that this one would be a priority. And then I was a little bit confused. So the recommendations, what exactly, in layman's terms, would be the recommendation? Because it says here option, I mean, the sheet I'm looking at, it says the recommendation option A will be deferred from consideration at this time. It doesn't really say anything else. So what are we voting on here, I guess? Is what
Mayor, Vice Mayor Waring, so we have two different station areas that we were looking at. So the option A that's being deferred, that's specifically referencing option A for 16th Street area study.
Right.
For 48th Street, we are recommending two options to move forward, which would be option A located right at 48th Street, as well as the option B, which is closer to the Disability Empowerment Center. The reason for those two is that those are the two options that we know are technically feasible. However, we recognize that the community unanimously does favor option B, so we are moving forward with those two options for 48th Street.
Okay, so it's another way of saying it, we're not moving forward with the options at 16th Street at this time.
Yeah, we are deferring that per
Okay,
the
so that's
subcommittee's
just deferred.
recommendation.
Okay, so I didn't read
Correct.
it the way, all right. So I thought maybe a sentence was missing or something. But we are gonna look at 48th Street, but there's no money available.
Currently, we do not have any money available, so the direction at this point would be to advance forward for staff to work with our partners at Valley Metro as well as at the federal level to pursue either local, regional, or federal fundings and or private sector, public-private partnership funding.
And how do you do that? Do you ask for grants? Do you fill out applications?
So one example would be, like the mayor had referenced earlier, we are looking at future elements of the future of transportation within the city of Phoenix, so that would be a local example. But also at the federal level, we mentioned that we recently received a Tiger grant for the South Central Corridor. This is a project that could possibly be a Tiger grant, so that would be an example of a federal option. So we just wanted to leave our options open in the options that we got any funding available for this.
But so I understand it, so money, I guess, put it this way, money that could be used to build more rail or a station somewhere else could potentially be used for this purpose.
Correct.
Okay, and that's what I was getting at. I would like to encourage you then. I think this use is maybe more meritorious, at least potentially, than a mile of track somewhere else, just given the nature of the population that would be probably disproportionately using this particular section. Plus, somebody referenced it's 2 miles between stops there. So you're probably not gonna get off at Priest and then ride your bike back or something like that. I mean, it's far, particularly if it's hot. So, so that is sort of my ultimate point. I think, you know, if we're gonna spend money on light rail and you're gonna apply for federal money and we get federal money, I would certainly hope that this particular use could potentially jump the line when that does happen. Right now, there's no money at all. It's speculative, is that right?
Yeah, Mayor, Vice Mayor Waring, this wasn't something that was in our budget originally, but this is why the recommendation is as such, to leave options for staff to pursue either local, federal, or regional funds.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? We did get a motion, is that correct, or we did not get a motion? Councilman Williams, please, do you have a motion?
Mayor, I would move staff's recommendation for approval.
We have a motion for staff recommendation that was also approved by the Transportation Subcommittee. Do we have a second? We have a motion. We have a second to move forward, at least with the process, because there's a lot of approval processes in the light rail, whether you're adding a section or retrofitting a new station onto the existing line. But this, if approved by this council, this will keep this process going to get a station near the Disability Empowerment Center and other major employment centers in the area. The other point that was made is that this, if we're successful in getting this done, it will serve as not just the inevitably increased amount of traffic for the Disability Empowerment Center, but also this is a really fast-growing area of Phoenix where a lot of office space is going as well. It's turning into a real employment center for the community as well. So the motion is in favor of staff recommendation. There's a second. Any final comments or questions by this council? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Go on and do good work. Thank you very much. I think there is no other business before this city council in our policy session. With that, this meeting is adjourned.